Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Cosmonarchy castover. It's your hosts, Pronogo. Hi, and I am here to talk about Cosmonarchy and, of course, our players, ECalipso, the Protoss, versus Eud64, the Terran. He and he are going to be playing each other on Impetus, a map by Week7. Let's get into it. ECalipso, bottom left. Eud64, top right. Now, I am very excited about this game because I was told that there was going to be a lot of fights. And you know what? The last time we featured these two people, there were a lot of fights. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got in store for us this time around. Remember, Eud64 is the man behind the bio play. He stood on bio forever and just refused to budge, even when, Tier 3 hit. And then he was like, wait, maybe I can do Iron Foundries. But unfortunately for him, he did not find success. So that was versus Top Ramen on Germination. Now ECalipso taking him on Impetus. I'm excited to see where this one goes. So, what else has been going on in Cosmonarchy? What is Cosmonarchy, you may be asking? Well, it's a game where you go Gateway first. Right? Yeah, okay. Good. Glad I got that one correct. But it's also a game where you can go Fulcrum first. Yes, Fulcrum, not Factory. Fulcrum. Even has a new model, courtesy of Darkened Fantasies, a man who needs little introduction. And you know what? There are few things as good as Cosmonarchy, but one of them is while you're casting Cosmonarchy, you crack open a cold one. Except it's not beer. It's energy. Let's get into this match, though. What exactly does the Fulcrum first mean? What is it hinting at? Well, we're probably going to see a Vulture, at least one. And EUD is probably going to get a little bit aggressive with it. Now, the Scribe left for ECalipso fast enough to scout this. I'd hazard a guess that he'll be able to be pretty insulated versus that. But what happens after your first production structure is more telling. And EUD currently thinking about putting down another something. I mean, he's frozen at 50 gas. Yeah, okay, it is going to be a second Fulcrum. And the Scribe obviously caught that. So if you're not looking too closely, then this might actually have looked to him like a star pad, because it's the same production, like sprite for construction. It's the same graphic. But either way, the answer seems for him to be to saturate his gas, put down a second gateway, and go for a Dracodon. What is a Dracodon? It's a Dragoon, but it turns, it animates, it doesn't always look at the same facing angle, and also it has a bunch of different stats associated with it. Now, it looks like the Scribe is going to get bopped here, so EUD going to go ahead and quickly, swiftly send it out. And you can see the flash shielding mechanic, actually. After 2 seconds of not taking damage, they regenerate shields at a rate of 10 per second. And because EUD wasn't stutter stepping between his attacks, that actually got a little close there. He took a little bit of damage from the Dracodon. Dracodon maybe could have gotten down there a little bit faster. You could see a world where, since EUD wasn't exactly on the ball with his attack moves and stuff, he actually could have, like, he wasn't doing any moving shots, right? He actually could have suffered some damage there. Some more damage than what he'd suffered. But instead he puts down these mines. This is going to stop the Dracodon from leaving the base in this way. The mines are not spider mines, they're lobotomy mines. That means they stun targets if they detonate on them. And if they're destroyed before, they will still slow them. But if they get the full stun off, then the slow hits afterwards. We have an embassy coming as well, so this is a very conservative play from ECalipso. He's respecting the 2 Fulcrum starter. He's not going to go down for an expansion. I like this from him. He's going to just power his 1 base macro for a little bit. And you can also use the embassy to make witnesses, which is the new observer, envoys, which are the new shuttle. And those do afford you some ideas, some tactics, some possibilities. So we're always glad to see those. All right, let's see what ends up coming from these Dracodons. They're going to leave the base a little bit here. That one didn't arm in time, so it gets sniped too quickly to do anything. It doesn't block building, though. It's not like Starcraft 1. In Brood War, if you lay a mine, you can't build there until you clear it. So instead, it's forced to just detonate on the spot. And the mine can also, burrowed units are also forced to unburrow on the spot. So that's a little note for if you're fighting Zerg and you're trying to build your structure. The correct move is actually for them to hold position, whatever their unit is, so that your Scribe can't warp in the Nexus there or whatever. So that's how you would do that if you're a smart man. And I would say that EUD is a pretty smart man, but you can't hold position on mine, can you? Witness coming out, so that's going to spy on all of these mines, reveal them. Okay, yeah, I was going to say he's probably being a little bit more on the ball. So the Witness will be slowed if it is over the mine to, it'll get that stun overlay or slow overlay on it. That will be more obvious where it is, but it does not reveal it. It only gets revealed if it's actually stunned. So maybe we'll see that later on. It looks like EUD's setting up for an expansion. He's also got some Vespine, so he's going to go for a Scrapyard and a Palladium. That's interesting. Witness going to go ahead and spy on the Terran base. Now, you can't build Watchdogs missile turrets to detect anymore, so instead, if you want static detection, it's a lodestone add-on, and if you want more mobile detection, you get the Shaman from the Stockade or the Antseal from the Starpad. And neither of those structures are in play for EUD, so it's going to be a while before he can actually do anything about that detection. If I had to guess, he's actually going to build the treasury and then build a quarry, and the quarry will help him produce more workers, and so that's more likely what you're going to see out of it. You're probably not going to see the lodestone. He can start in a little bit of a stab in here, though. Nice surge forward. He trades 1 Vulture for 1 Dracodon so far, and these units are actually not as efficient on the ramp. You get +2 weapon range firing down cliff in Cosmonarchy, so they will be a little bit efficient there, but so far, so good. They even killed the Scribe that was going to start the Nexus. Now, ECalipso doesn't have to cancel it at the very least, so there is that. The Goliaths can stutter step over here, but it looks like some of these Vultures were kind of caught on each other in the back, so they don't end up being able to push forward. I feel like, actually, there is some kill potential here. If those Vultures were on the front, then you would actually see them burst down the shields, and the Goliaths with their steady fire would be able to do a little bit more. Instead, he's going to try to lay some mines, because he does have some. But the Witness is already here. That's a second Witness, by the way. The first one's still over there. So EUD right now, he's trying to hold out until his Phalanx gets here. And if he can get his Phalanx on, you can see the slow effect there for a brief period of time. If he's as long as he gets his Phalanxes over here to deploy, then, you know, suddenly you can be in for a pretty good shout, right? Like you can siege them, and then you can start bombing them from afar. But now the Nexus is going to come down. The Ardent Authority has already been put down. This is going to be for siege artillery production for ECalipso, most likely. All right, we've got Starpad, we've got Fulcrums, and we've got an engagement. Oh, look at that. The Witness actually did get stunned there for a moment, but was not focused down. Bit of a missed opportunity, perhaps. But the Phalanx is going to get focused down here by the Dracodons. Oh, it lives with 1 health. Well, I don't think its follow-up shot did too much because it has a travel time on the shot now, but still, that could be a huge asset. Does he have another one coming? That's a Blackjack, I can tell by the minimap circle. Yeah, he's got another Phalanx coming. Obviously, they're fairly slow. Saturating the gas over here in the natural. Pylon coming down here. With only 3 Dracodons, he's going to go ahead and move the next Gateway Rally up. Is going for an Architect. So, Architects are these longer range units. They don't outrange a Phalanx in Siege mode, though. So, oh, you got to watch out. Yeah, oh, look at that. The fade away from the Dracodon. Not able to be nullified. That's unfortunate for ECalipso. I mean, for EUD. Very fortunate for ECalipso, perhaps. He had the idea there. Manage that Phalanx count before it gets out of hand. Because if there's like 3 Phalanxes here, which there will be once this third one comes in, there would have been if that first one had stayed alive, then all of a sudden, oh, it looks like we got a bad rally somewhere with the Blackjacks. If there had been 3 Phalanxes here, it's a lot harder to get past this bridge, even with the help of the Architect. The Architect has 10 range, but as you can see, a deployed Phalanx has 12 range. So max range is better, for sure. And that does mean that you will sustain some fire. We see at a third Fulcrum, a Stockade. Oh, we do have a Starpad with an Antseal here. So the Antseal is like a mobile detector that also any unit underneath it will... oh man, this rally is still not corrected. Any unit beneath the Antseal will actually be shielded as well. So that helps for quite a bit, you know. We can see it's moving over here to secure itself a little bit of time with the rest of the crew. 15 Scribes being transferred. He's actually left himself a little undersaturated at the main, but not by much. He can restock that pretty easy. ECalipso going to go ahead and enjoy his newfound economy. Maybe add some more production structures a little bit later on. The Antseal flying a little bit too far away. It's very bruised right now, but that'll be okay. So basically any unit that's underneath the Antseal, or indeed any damage that is taken to the Antseal itself, is first dealt to its energy. And the bullets are all redirected to it. Any projectiles are redirected. Instant hit attacks are also going to be redirected. Like if a Maverick, like a Marine, was shooting at the Antseal, then it would also, or shooting at a target underneath the Antseal, it would also be redirected. We have a prostration stage that just got started, so that's pretty good. Oh, could end up bopping this Witness, but it looks like the flash shielding will save the day. 3 health left. Some Vultures. Got a second Palladium. Yeah. This is really important. You need those Phalanxes. In TVP, if you've chosen to go mech, then you got to watch out for Zealots in particular, which actually we're going to see a flank here in a moment, it looks like. Architects across the bridge. If these get focused down, this could actually be really bad for ECalipso, but instead, the Phalanx shots were on cooldown before the Zealots could even get into the situation. So they should still be cleaned up here, but at the cost of, well, a lot of Dracodons got splattered as well, but there's just nothing here to hold, right? And the Architects, they deal pretty good damage, right? As you can see, they deal 40 damage a pop. Now, they can't attack air units, so they're not a threat to the Antseals, but it's still quite powerful. And for that reason, actually, if you can get to like 5-6 anseals, even though that's a heavy gas cost, you can still do a lot of absorption to prevent the architects from getting too chaotic, right? Looks like we're going to have a third base put down here by ECalipso. There's already been a ministry started, so EUD on the same page as far as that's concerned. I guess one thing that would be nice for both players is if they scouted a little bit more. I know that there's a witness over here, right? So ECalipso has a little bit of info. He sees the ministry in production, and he's, EUD hasn't been on the ball, like looking around his base to see if he can find any idle witnesses. You can use the anseals for that because they are detectors. So some anti-scouting from EUD would definitely go a long way here. But also, I think one of the things that's worth pointing out here is that even though ECalipso has the witnesses, he doesn't know the complexion of his opponent's army. I don't think I've seen a witness fly into the main here. So that's something worth pointing out. Maybe this one can do that now that it's confirmed there's nothing over at 3 o'clock. Now, the prostration stage is going to go ahead and make a pariah. This is a bug we've actually seen before, but don't worry, that's been fixed already. Actually, if people are curious, sometimes I like to thread the needle here. Or pull back the curtain, I should say. Witness it does end up dying. The prostration stage bug with the overlay is because we recently had DF. He was kind enough to volunteer his time to further consolidating and optimizing our iScript file so that we can add a couple more units without waiting for the iScript extension. Although there is a lot of progress on that as well, so I'm not particularly worried about that. But it was very kind of him to do that, and so there was just one oversight in his changes that made that, but that's going to afford us a lot of improvements. So that's been long since fixed by now. The prostration stage is going to go ahead and finish up a pariah. Those are sort of very meaty frontliner units. You can see them right here. They're very tanky, so you got to watch out for them. They're going to go ahead and make connections onto this anchor. There's nothing in it. It's going to load up with some vultures. I think EUD has plenty of force here, so he shouldn't be, in danger. He's going to entrench his phalanxes up and sort of leapfrog them forward. All right, the architects are moving on back. Yeah, I guess ECalipso, I mean, he's definitely showing presence here. He killed a couple of workers. That trade was also good for him. He killed the anchor. He killed a couple Cyclops, a couple vultures. And all he lost for it was, it looks like a witness and the zealots. Losing the witness is actually kind of big. There's another one over here. Maybe that wasn't a witness, though. Maybe that was I don't know what else it would have been, though. Yeah, nothing else leaves that kind of rubble, so we're going to say that was a witness. Either way, though, EUD is here powering up to his third base. Same can be said for ECalipso. And the conventional wisdom is that, if you want to break a Terran, then you need to have more bases than them, right? That's wisdom borrowed from Starcraft 1. And that is actually still kind of true here. I mean, EUD has a lot of income right now. He's got the worker advantage, and he's got an entrenched position, especially if he deploys his phalanxes over here and starts to sort of split the top left of the map. He can even try to take, the 10 o'clock position as well. He's unpacking his shamans. I haven't really talked about the shaman, but it's basically a healing, this restorative vehicle, right? This craft here that moves around. It can deploy to detect and also to extend its healing radius. And basically it repairs air and ground armies. So most of the time you'll see it used for wraiths, but you can also see it work really well versus crowd control. Like if you were trying to heal bio and there was only a couple of Lycisilisks on the field, the shamans could absolutely help with that. Now here's the witness moving to the top left at the same time as the mason is coming over there to set up a base. So ECalipso will be aware. He's actually going for a potentate as well as a Cantor Architect combo, or sorry, a Cantor Envoy combo. So he's going to see if he can do basically the Cosmonarchy equivalent of a Reaver drop. We'll have to keep watch on that. I thought maybe ECalipso was going to go ahead and take another base. Maybe he is. Where's this going? Okay, it's going here. Maybe it's going to build a proxy or something. Meanwhile, the Antseals, they're flying way too far forward here. The Dracodons can absolutely deal with them. Pariah's got stuck behind there, though. So the first Pariah goes down. The Cyclops firing line, I mean, you love to see it. They've got the cliff advantage as well. They can actually contend with the Dracodons here. This is going to be a full wipe, unless ECalipso falls back, and it looks like he will. 3 Architects left. Still standing tall. The Potentate is on the field. We've got, okay, the Ancestral Archives. Okay, making up Tectons is not a bad shout. Basically, they're Protoss artillery units. They have 1 less weapon range than the Phalanx. So you can imagine they can contend with them. And the Atlas just started as well. This is a very late tier 2. You can see how expensive mech is to sustain on multiple bases. Even though he's going up to his 4th base and he's got full saturation on all of his gases as far as we can tell. He's even depleted his main. That's how late the game is. You know, he's still is at a situation where he needs that Atlas super late, right? He gets that Atlas super late. So, you know, some of that could have been maybe better spending, but you can tell the mech is very expensive. So here's the committal. The Phalanxes are a little bit further backward, but I guess the staggered shells should allow them to deal with the Zealots somewhat well. A lot of Shamans going down. There's only one of them left alive. And the Uptecton cracking shot after shot. One of the Architects has gone down. Make that 2. Some overkill there as well. The Potente not getting close enough to use its main gun there, or it's a melee weapon. And all 3 Architects have gone down. Oh, the Uptecton goes down as well. Honestly, the Phalanx count is still pretty high, but if we get a couple of melee units out here, I feel like at this point, EUD is going to be in huge trouble, at least for the soft contain. Now, he does have a lot of units coming on in. He even started distance mining while he sets up some watchdogs and such. And we do have the Envoy with the Cantor. I'm glad I didn't miss that. It had been a while since I looked at it. Looks like the Watchdog is going to go ahead and do some damage here. Oh, look at that. Knocked into from one into the other. That will end up going down. The Cyclops, of course, the main target you want to go for here. But, I mean, this is tying up his attention. But what is ECalipso doing behind this? He's kind of just forgotten about his drop. He's making a Demiurge out of the Synthetic Synod. Not a bad choice versus Terran. And, yeah, the base layout there working out. The Cantor shot... It doesn't have pathfinding the way that the Reaver Scarab does, but it also will explode on contact. So it wasn't able to attack the Cyclops, the Phalanx, etc., and eventually got overwhelmed. And so it denied mining time for a little bit. It wasn't even able to finish off the Watchdog. I guess it burns down, and the Quarry as well. Now over here with Tier 2 done, we're going to see a Mantle being put down, so that's an interesting development here. ECalipso has some money, EUD has way more. And he never put a rally point down on his star pad, it looks like. He's still got that idle Antseal over there. I guess we can check that, actually. Yeah, okay, there's no rally point. You can hold Alt to see a preview, and you can see like the rally point is being drawn over here, right? 4th base coming online here for ECalipso. Just a pylon blocking at 3 o'clock, I guess. But yeah, we're talking about 4 bases versus 4 bases, right? So this is going to favor the Terran, and he even has a forward post over here with the soft contain that he has reinforced, admittedly, with a lot of Tier 1 stuff. Like, if some of those Cyclops were Ramses already, I would say it's something a little bit different. But that's what you're going to get out of the Mantles. They are much better at dealing with Zealots. They will instantaneously deal with the anything else as well, like Dracodons. They penetrate Dracodons. If you rend the armor or deal with the shields of the Zealot, they start penetrating the Zealots. So they can be pretty good. Now, the Cyclops is obviously pretty solid as well at dealing with like clumps of units, but I feel like they need a bit of a front line, and so if you're using them as the front line, it's not as efficient as it could be. But that's where maybe I thought the Scrapyard was going to come in. Maybe we could get some Matadors in action to deploy on the front. They burn the armor of the Zealot as well. You imagine that, actually thinking about that, I feel like Matadors would be a great choice, especially since you already have 2 Scrapyards. You could be producing a lot of them. But we don't have that much production in general here. We've got 4 Fulcrums, 2 of which have the add-ons for the Phalanx. Taking a 5th base. Okay, well, he's spending his money, or trying to anyway. He's got 2K in the bank. And here comes a committal. The Zealots, remember, this has been ECalipso's main focus and the bane of EUD's army so far. But you know what? There's still a lot of Phalanxes over here. Another one just going to go ahead and deploy. We're going to keep an eye out on that count. And it looks like only 4 of them remain. The Cyclops are enduring, thanks to in large part to the Shamans. This Antseal could be better positioned. And look at that. Actually, this force will stay alive. That's shocking to me. ECalipso, he was looking at that and thought, hey, doesn't Neblime say that, you know, the Cyclops is terrible? Well, actually, that stayed alive for a lot longer than I expected, and it took a lot more units out. Look, the Patriarch is dead. A lot of the Dracodons are dead. It looks like maybe the Tectons and the Demiurges stayed alive. Those could have been better focused down by EUD. But still, that's really good. I mean, like, in that situation as Terran, the rest of your force is going to be massing up at home. You're happy to thin the herd massively and really start draining them. Now, again, what could we be doing at this point? Starpad could be making Trojans, dropping this defenseless base here. The Wardens are only now being set up, and it's way late, right? We even have a Maverick being made. That's cute. Obviously, the other move that you could be doing is like, okay, he's getting a commandment. Maybe he could go for some nukes or something, right? The Morning Star, which is the new name for the nuclear missile, requires the Anvil, new name for the Silo. And it's an add-on, of course, just like normal. But we don't have any slots here for the first 3 bases. We do have slots for the top 2. So maybe we'll see that come to fruition. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, okay, it's going to be an Azazel. But the Seraph, the science vessel, can actually paint nuclear strikes now. So the missile strikes can absolutely come into fruition there. Let's see what else we got. Massing up on the doorstep here across the bridge. If people are familiar with the Neo Dark Origin 1v1 map in Starcraft 1, it's an ASL map. The bridges on Impetus are not quite so much of a death trap, but they are, you know, operate behind similar rules. Bridges on this, bridges on Fata Morgana, another map by Veek7, they are absolutely key details that you got to worry about. if you are trying to cross a bridge, trying to get across. Now, in this case, the Ministry is going to get taken over by the Demiurges. In my experience, ECalipso usually just kills these, and yeah, it looks like he's absolutely just going to do that. So if the Demiurge were to move away, the mind control would fade away. So that's not going to work out for him. I keep stepping on something. Anyway, pay attention to the fight, Pronogo. We got Durandals now. So Durandals will also rend the armor of the Zealot. Bend the Zealots over. Maybe that's what I meant to say there. But it looks like this fairly mobile army wasn't able to get there in time, unfortunately. You can actually see the pivot away from phalanxes. I mean, part of it is that he just doesn't have the production for many of them. And the other part of it is that maybe he's spending more of his Vespene on other things. He's only added one mantle over here. I feel like that could be more. Seraph, double sentinel. Okay, so at least he can like kind of hold that base. Maybe he's going to go ahead and reset up here, but he's got to watch out. Obtectons are on the field. It looks like we still only have 2, but there are 4 Demiurges with this squad, man. That's a lot of ranged fire damage that you can put down on the individual targets. And there's not that much over here for EUD. I'm really worried about his position here. He's got Cataphracts back there. Good D-Matrix onto the Azazel. He hasn't really spread his force versus the Obtecton Splash, and the Drakodin line, they are staying alive for so long, in large part due to these Patriarchs that are not being focused down, because what can you focus them down with? There's no more Phalanxes. I actually think ECalipso is just going to push for the win here. The Zealots are all done. You know, they're still alive. Yeah, EUD is going to GG. That was a long game, but man, that could have been so much more. I feel like losing all the Phalanxes for EUD was the nail in the coffin. And for ECalipso, I do think that his satellite bases were very easily harassable. You send like 4 vultures, you can still make 4 vultures at a time despite the add-ons, right? So you send like, 8 vultures, that's 2 production cycles of vultures, down to that bottom right base. You're going to kill a bunch of scribes, lay some mines, make it just a nightmare, and then you can just leave them on hold position. Now his force has to go there. That gives you time to set up defenses at your 5th that obviously got walked in on by all the Demiurges and Zealots. So I feel like that one move could have changed the complexion of the game, extended play for a lot longer. And yeah, anyway, I'm excited to see how these players develop. They've been around for a little bit now, and EUD is still trying to figure out what to do versus ECalipso. They play a lot. They overlap a lot with their schedules, which is kind of funny because they're both pretty new. But I'm also interested in seeing what happens with Terran, man. I need to see more Terrans hit the field. Let's see some more Terran replays. So with that said, GG's, and we'll be back for some more Cosmonarchy next time.